and I was able to get into some of the schools that I never imagined I'd be able to get into before. So I was accepted to Harvard, Stanford, Princeton, Yale, and Juilliard for conservatories. Hi, my name is Michelle Stern. I'm a graduating senior from Townsend Harris High School's class of 2021, and I will be graduating from Harvard University in 2025. Today I'm just going to be talking about my wonderful experience of Navi Consulting and how I am and why I am here today. So I initially came to Readingtown for SAT prep back in 2019, and it was extremely beneficial to me. I spent the whole summer pretty much here preparing, and I ended up doing very well on my SAT, and I definitely owe that all to Readingtown. So I held Readingtown and Sunny and everyone who was associated with her in very high regard. So when I was trying to figure out what I should do with my college applications, and I was running a little bit late on schedule, it was nearing the end of September, and I still really wasn't sure what I was doing, and I was planning on applying to early action schools, and early action, the deadline was November 1st, and regular decision January 1st, so everything was starting to creep up on me, and I knew that I really had people I could trust here, so I decided to reach out and see what I could do, and I joined Navi Consulting, and I never regretted a minute of it.
Was there any specific reason you wanted to enroll in a consulting firm?
So I felt that I wasn't really getting very far on my own. I wasn't really finding much motivation, and I needed people to talk to, people outside of my immediate family and friend group, to just help sort out my ideas, what I wanted to major in, where I wanted to apply to college, and just who I wanted to be and what I wanted to put on the paper to be sent out to all these various colleges, both competitive and not, that I was planning on applying to. And I really felt like a consulting firm would really help me sort out all of my thoughts and ideas, and also just help me develop all of the various materials necessary for a college application process, especially now during the COVID-19 pandemic. Communication with my school has been way more cut off than it would have been if I was at my school. So I felt that an external counseling service would really help me get through this time, both in terms of stress management, but also just helping me figure out everything that I wanted to do and letting the process go through smoothly. So that's a very broad question, and there's definitely a lot I can say, but my overall experience of Navi Consulting was extremely informative. It was very fruitful, and I felt that I learned so much that went far beyond just the process of applying to colleges. Yes, I developed a lot of wonderful skills of writing essays and developing resumes, various types of resumes, establishing an activities list, and sorting out all the things that were most important to me in my life that I wanted to show to the world, show to colleges, and establish as I'm going on this important journey towards my future. But I also was able to find way more of myself in the process of working with Navi Consulting, be it through the mentorship process where I was talking to all of my wonderful counselors and having them get to know me, getting to know each other. Every single meeting was extremely wonderful. I felt that the more I talked about myself before putting things down on the page, the more I realized about what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go, and what I wanted to do with the world and the impact that I wanted to have. As cliche as it may sound, it really helped me find myself 100%. And that was really one of the most important things that I was able to take away from Navi Consulting, just developing who I am, growing as a person, and preparing myself to not only put things on the page and send them off to colleges, but as I go into college and embark on my journey towards the future. Yes, definitely. So when I was going into the college application process, as aforementioned, I didn't have much idea of what it was going to be like. Again, I didn't have a lot of communication with my school. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't even know how many schools I was going to end up applying to, and it turned out to be 20 schools, which is high above like the average that most people do, maybe like 8 to 12. And even though I started late in the process, I was able to not only complete all of my applications in time, but complete them before the deadlines. And I remember especially when I got deferred early action from my chosen school, Harvard, I was worried that having been deferred, I wouldn't be prepared to apply to all the other schools that I was going to regular decision, because I had this idea in my head like, oh, what if I get in, then I don't have to. But Navi Consulting, my mentors, they pushed me to continue working on my applications as soon as I submitted my REA application, so that I would have things ready to go for a regular decision no matter what happened. And it was that, in addition to being able to work on a letter of continued interest and continue to express my interest in Harvard after the deferral, plus apply to 19 other schools with time to spare, I thought that was really important to the process, and it wasn't what I had in my expectations at all. And so it turned out I had an 80% acceptance rate, so 16 out of the 20 schools accepted me and the other 4 waitlisted me. And I was able to get into some of the schools that I never imagined I'd be able to get into before. So I was accepted to Harvard, Stanford, Princeton, Yale, and Juilliard for conservatories. And I had a very diverse kind of pool of applications there, since I was applying to both music conservatories and academic colleges, because I feel that a large part of my personality is that interdisciplinary connection between the many parts of myself that often interact. And again, that's another thing that Navi Consulting helped me discover about myself, the fact that I really want to do things that are interdisciplinary, that I want to combine all of my interests. I don't want to be a clear-cut, one-directional person. I want to find intersections and be innovative in that sort of area. And I felt that was just a personal success, also just learning that about myself and how important it is to me, in addition to all of the receptions I had from colleges, and of course in general the personal receptions I had from everyone at Navi Consulting and my family and friends, that made the entire process, especially after I received my results, exceptionally enjoyable and difficult in making a decision, but I was very elated to have the choices that I did.
What are some skills and lessons you learned by working with Navi and its consultants?
So a lot of the skills I learned obviously pertain directly to application processes, but college applications are not the only applications we have to do in life. In the future, I'm going to be applying to jobs, doing interviews, going to be meeting tons of people like I did throughout the college application process. So really what there is to take away from this is not simply applying to colleges. Like, the journey doesn't stop here. It's learning life skills, communicative skills, growing my resume, developing my repertoire as a person as I go into the future and make a difference in the world in my own personal way. And I was able to take away those life skills. In addition to that, also just academic skills, writing faster, being quicker with developing essays, concision, supplementary essays. Anyone who's going into the college application process will find that there's a lot of shaving in the beginning, but you get used to writing things within a certain word limit, and that's actually very important, realistically speaking, when you're applying to jobs, doing academic coursework, anything of the sort, and that's a really necessary life skill. And developing my resume, discovering what was most important to me, there was so much to take away that I'm going to continue using for the rest of my life. So at first, when I was going into the application process, I wasn't really sure exactly what I wanted to accomplish. I had this large palette of things that intrigued me, and I hadn't really sorted through them. I knew that I liked doing this, I liked doing that. I like math, I like liberal arts, I like playing music on my violin, I like going here, going there. But I didn't really know what to do, how to sort all of it out together. But Navi Consulting helped me kind of solidify my goals a lot more, and of course goals are extremely malleable, and everyone changes their minds several times as they go through the college process and even beyond the college process into graduate programs or PhD or occupations. But I really learned that, as I mentioned before, that interdisciplinary route is so important to me, that I want to help kind of innovate in the area of creating intersections between things like mathematics and music. There's a lot to be said, like acoustically in physics. We can connect that to things that are being developed in NASA, or if you look at literature and music, there's a lot of innovation to be made there in that kind of intersection, and various others that I can't even begin to talk about because I would be rambling on for 2 days. I really hope that I take all the life skills that I developed from Navi Consulting, as I mentioned before, the ones that I can apply to applications and apply to communicating with other people and developing who I am personally, and just bringing that into the future with that interdisciplinary perspective and making my mark on the world with everything that Navi Consulting has given me in the process.